Folks, Bobo's back with you here at 3's Inn. So, on 30 November 1987, there was a change of command at Randolph within the 12th Student Squadron, and that's where I relinquished command and became DO Special Assistant Number 2. DO Special Assistant Number 1 was a friend of mine, Byron Allen, and he had seniority on me. But be that as it may, I'd put in for retirement, and once you do that, any positions you hold that might show upward mobility, they're meaningless anymore. So they decided to replace me with somebody that was still up and coming, and I was fine with that. I had looked long and hard at my career path, and it was as it was turning out. I was not one of the pretty kids, okay? I didn't go to the academy. I didn't go to any of the professional military schools in residence. My performance reports were outstanding. I wasn't worried about that. I would probably make full colonel, but what are they going to do with me? All I seemed to like to do was fly. And so I was staring down the barrel of a non-rated job, and boy, I wasn't feeling the love. So I talked to the wife and said, you know what, I think it's time to move on. By the way, the airlines are hiring, and I can go and fly. That's what I enjoy doing. Okay, so that's kind of the background behind this, and they gave me a position of DO Special Assistant Number 2. DO Special Assistant Number 1 was Byron Allen. And man, I really liked Byron Allen. He was a hero of mine. I just really looked up to him. So we'd go in and have coffee together early in the morning and sit there and jaw this, that, and the other. And Byron says, well, I think I'm going down and fly. And I said, well, so am I. And one day we'd take his truck, next day we'd take mine to go from the DO's office down to the squadron. You get the idea. As DO Special Assistants, we were given DO Special Assistant jobs every now and then. And one of the jobs I was given was to take a 4-ship of 38s with 4 38 IPs and 4 T-37 IPs over to Tyndall for a squadron exchange visit with an F-15 squadron. Okay, I'll do that. So I get a bunch of captains. I don't know if there were any majors, maybe 1 or 2, but a bunch of captains in this 4-ship. And off we went. When we got to Tyndall, the squadron was really gracious. They had set up to give us rides in an F-15. Boy, that was fantastic. That was just great. This was in the spring of 1988. That was so cool. So we get in there, and it turned out that one of the airplanes had broke or whatever, and being in charge of the gaggle, it was kind of up to me to say who was going to take the hit. Well, I'm sorry, I was just within 3 months of getting out, and there wasn't any chance I'd get another F-15 ride. So, sorry, Charlie. I don't know who got the T-33 ride, but somebody did, and I got the ride in the F-15. Okay. That being said, we go in at the appointed hour, sit down, meet our instructors or the pilots we're going to fly with. And I met this guy who's colloquially called a patch wearer, a graduate of fighter weapons school, young captain. And this guy really thought he was something. He was very cool. If you gave him the opportunity, he would stop what he was doing and tell you how cool he was. So anyway, I'm assigned to fly with him. We get all suited up and this, that, and the other. We go into the briefing, and it's going to be 2 F-15s or whatever it is versus a lot of F-5s. Okay. So during the briefing, it became clear that he was going to be one of the primary shooters, and he was up there to run up his Fox 1, Fox 2, and whatever score. Okay, good enough. Well, anyway, so we go out, strap in the jet, and the first thing that impressed me was how big that thing is in the cockpit. Now, I'm used to flying in this little sports car, okay? I just kind of kind of cozy in like this, you know. And I got in that F-15. Holy crap! Did somebody say to build an open floor plan in that thing? I mean, it had bags of room in there. So I get in there, and boy, this is really cool. And he fired it up. And the other thing that amazed me was when they start that airplane, that thing just sits there and rumbles. You can't see it, but you sure can feel it with those motors as they start up. Whoa, that's kind of interesting too. So we taxi out and eventually take off. We get airborne. I said, "Hey, would you mind if I flew for a little bit?" Well, grudgingly, he said, "Well, okay. Thanks a lot." So I took the airplane and flew it a little bit. And boy, I was just getting into it when things started happening, and he had to get busy with his radar and Fox 1s and Fox 2s and so forth. He was up there kind of busy, and I'm just sitting back there looking around. I mean, I might as well have been a bag of rocks, I suppose. So he gets done with all this Maverick type of stuff, I guess, and I don't have a clue. I kind of lost interest in it once I saw he was just interested in racking up the score, if you will. So we come back to the base, and I said, "Can I fly a bit?" Well, okay. Yeah, we had 40 miles to fly, you know, and then he eventually took the airplane for the pitch out and land. "You're not gonna let me land? You fool!" Anyway, so we come in and land, and then that night we all the ATC guys, Air Training Command guys, most of us got together and drove off base to this redneck bar. Now that was cool. We get in this redneck bar, and it's just my kind of place. I mean, having served at Enid, Oklahoma, and then Randolph down there in Texas, this other bar just outside of Tyndall, this thing was just right up my alley. And they had a band in there, and this band was playing, and they invited people to come up and sing. Well, I can't carry a tune in a bucket unless I'm half schnozzed. So me and a guy named Mike Gould, and for those of you that know Mike, yes, that Mike Gould, we got up there and sang Up Against the Wall, You Redneck Mother. And we won the singing contest for what it's worth. I don't remember what it was worth, maybe a beer or two, but I just remember they were just totally impressed with our singing ability. Okay. So next day we get in the airplanes, we head back to Randolph. And then a week or so later we get a word that these F-15s are coming in, and we want to give them rides in a 38 and a 37. Well, good. Of course, I'm in charge of that. And as I'm sitting there looking at the roster of F-15 guys, I see the patch wearer's name, and I look at it and I say, "Oh, okay, maybe it's time for a little humility here." So I assigned him to fly on a tweet. I can tell you that did not go over well. He did not like that, but his buddies were giving him a ration. So he went, to his credit, he went and flew it. And then later that night down the auger, he comes up to me and he says, "Okay." He says, "I see what you did." He says, "Next time we fly, you can get a lot more stick time." We kind of hugged it out and all was well, and we left on good terms. So I don't know who you are. I don't know what your name is. I don't remember it anymore, but all ended well. And that was my only F-15 ride. So that being said, this is Bobo, Base Gear. Stop.